House of Cards' use of direct address is its most unusual and well-recognised feature. Also known as an aside and similar to a soliloquy, the act of a character speaking to the audience while remaining unheard by other characters in the scene breaks the fourth wall and engages the viewer in a unique way. Direct address evolved from theatre and may seem out of place in a serious drama like House of Cards, but it was a key feature of the original series from which the production is based, a British version broadcast in 1990. Having this source material that has proven direct address would not detract from serious drama with 10 storylines, Netflix's House of Cards' use of this technique is masterful and has played an important role in the success of the show. I believe there are 3 key effects of direct address in House of Cards. Firstly, it aligns the audience with the protagonist. Secondly, it works as an effective narrative technique. And thirdly, it represents a key central theme. In aligning the audience, the direct address is effective in establishing an intimate relationship with the anti-hero. As James R. Keller states, the effect of the protagonist's direct address is to generate an intimacy with the politic villain and complicity of the audience. This feeling of complicity from being present at Frank's crimes encourages committed viewership and aligns the audience with an otherwise unlikable character. As a narrative technique, the direct address is used to inform the audience when Frank is being deceitful. Frank often manipulates and lies to his colleagues and turns to the audience to tell us his honest thoughts. An alternative way of showing this would be to have Frank plotting in prior scenes, but using an aside is an interesting and time-saving method that helps us to understand what Frank's true intentions are in this dialogue-heavy, complex narrative. Examples of this include when Frank offers to take the blame for the leak of the education bill, which he knows will encourage Donald Blythe to take the fall instead.
3, 2, 1.
It should be me. It was my bill.
Or when Frank offers to resign in response to a girl killed in his home state.
Just say the word and it's done.
This aids the construction of his character, conveying his intelligence, charm, and knowledge of human behaviour to be able to manipulate any situation and bluff his way out of it. This use of direct address as a narrative technique also adds to the feeling of audience involvement. We have a privileged position, becoming aware of certain things before other characters in the show, which allows suspense to build as we wait for the fallout of Frank's carefully constructed plans. Though this isn't always the case. Take episode 6, which begins with a brick thrown through a window at the Underwood residence. We don't see who is responsible, but in the midst of a heated teachers' strike, the vandalism is put down to a disgruntled protester. It's not till the end of the episode that it's revealed to the audience, at the same time as Frank's rival, Marty Spinella, that the incident was in fact orchestrated to change public opinion. This is an example of Frank's power over what the audience knows, and it leads well onto my final point, that the direct address conveys themes of power and control which are prevalent throughout the entire series. Only Frank has the ability to stop the narrative timeline and break the fourth wall. This makes clear that he is our protagonist, our connection and navigator in his world. However, it's interesting to see how this changes as the series progresses. Frank's marriage begins to fall apart in season 3 as his wife Claire feels shortchanged as First Lady. After all that she has sacrificed to help Frank manipulate his way to the presidency, she feels powerless and decides to leave him. The significance of Claire's role in Frank's career becomes clear. His re-election campaign would be over if they were to publicly separate, as Claire is much loved by the American people. Season 4 sees the pair come to a compromise of manipulating the party to nominate Claire as Frank's vice president in the re-election campaign. The use of direct address conveys this transformation of power to Claire as Frank begins to respect her importance. For the first time, she is included in Frank's aside in the last moments of season 4. Though she doesn't speak, she shares the frame with Frank equally and looks directly into the lens while Frank uses we pronouns.
We make the terror.
The first time that Claire speaks to the audience comes in episode 11 of season 5.
Just to be clear, it's not that I haven't always known you were there. It's that I have mixed feelings about you. I question your intentions. And I'm ambivalent about attention.
Sandrine Sorlin writes that Claire's statement brings viewers to switch from the position of co-partner in a game to that of distrusted recipients. The collective sender keeps them in suspense as to what footing they will be on in this new woman-controlled relationship. Claire's ambivalence towards us relates to our previous position as Frank's co-conspirator. As she quietly plots to usurp Frank, she holds us at a distance where Frank was once intimate. The season finale brings the second aside from Claire. After Frank's resignation following a risk of impeachment, Claire takes over the presidency. He asks her to pardon him, but she refuses to follow through, her plan to shut him out and take the presidency for herself finally coming to fruition. The episode ends with a powerful two-word statement which sets the trajectory for the next season.
My turn.
Direct address has been essential in the construction of House of Cards' unique style, and in recent seasons has been greatly successful in aiding the transformation of power from Francis to Claire in a gradual and subtle way. This uncommon narrative technique has ensured House of Cards is understandable for a wide audience who may not be familiar with the intricacies of American politics, and has kept audiences engaged for 6 successful seasons.
One nation